Hey, what's going on, YouTube fam? So it has been a while since I put a video out, but today I thought I would jump back on here and do a video for y'all because frankly it's been quite a while. So in today's video we're going to be talking about, should you build your daily driver Jeep big or should you keep it small? So stay tuned. Hey, welcome back everyone. If this is your very first time to my channel, my name is Kevin Irwin. Basically on this channel, just so you know what to expect, I do a lot of Jeep reviews, different stuff like today's video, kind of going over whether or not you should build a big or small Jeep. We are building a 1979 Cherokee Chief, so I've been doing updates on that. That is on 1 tons and 40s. That's gonna be one of my primary wheeling rig. We build Jeeps and sell them, as many of you guys know, because I've had a bunch of different Jeeps on here, and of course we go out and we wheel them. Now, I know I've been gone for a little while. I haven't been making videos. If you're a YouTuber, you understand that sometimes life gets in the way. Sometimes you have to sell stuff. Sometimes things just don't work out to plan. Basically, long story short, I did really well in my businesses. As many of you know, I am a real estate agent and I came out of the gate really hot. Well, problem with that is I just started spending money like crazy. I know a lot of you have seen my Jeeps build up really fast. You've seen me have multiple different types of Jeeps, and that's because I was young and dumb. And my wife and I finally decided, you know what, enough's enough of the craziness. You know, let's get on a budget, let's get smart with our money. So we jumped on Financial Peace University, and that's what we're doing right now. So that's why you have not seen a ton of videos come out from me, because we've been working that plan. But the thing is, I really miss it. I really miss making content for you, and I really miss getting out and hitting the trails. There's just something about it that really calms you. So I'm jumping back into making long form for 2023. I'm gonna try and stick to doing 1 video a week for you, because you know, we have created a pretty good community in Max Overland, and I want to continue to build that. And I want to continue to bring you content. Okay, enough of my bull crap. Let's jump into this video. Should you build a big Jeep or should you build a small Jeep? Now, obviously, if you've been with my channel for a while, you know that I have some experience with this. My last 2 Gladiators, I had a 2020 Jeep Gladiator gas version that I put on 40s, and then I ended up selling that one after about 1.5 years when the diesel came out, and I ended up buying the 2021 Jeep Gladiator diesel, and that one also ended up going on 40. Now I'm in a 2018 JLUR Rubicon, firecracker red, and right now I'm currently on 35 by 12.5 nittos. So, you know, I've had it all over the spectrum. I've had big Jeeps, I've had small Jeep, I've had right in the middle of the both. That's kind of what I want to chit chat with you about today is, should you go straight big or should you stay small? You know, honestly, it depends on your goals. It depends on what you're doing with it. For myself in particular, this is my daily driver. This is my work vehicle. As many of you know, my Instagram, I have 2 different Instagrams. I have the Kevin Irwin Instagram, which I'll link right here, and then I have the Max Overland, which is what you guys are used to follow me for the Jeep stuff. Now, before I switched my branding to Kevin Irwin, which is my name, I was the Jeep Realtor. So, of course, people got used to me. You guys got used to seeing my different Jeep. I was used to being the Jeep Realtor, which is why I continue to drive a Jeep on a daily basis. Now, I like building them big. Obviously, you guys know that. I love having 40s. I love having a big presence on the road. I love that feel, and it was cool for a while. There's a problem with it when you have my specific, or you know, maybe you are driving it for work, or maybe you have a really long commute. When you buy these new rigs and put them up on 40s, they get expensive really fast. In the beginning, it's fine. You know, it's awesome. They're a beast. They look amazing, and you start driving them, you're happy as hell. And then all of a sudden, stuff starts to go wrong. After about, you know, 10 to 15,000 miles, you start having some wheel bearings, you start having some axle leakage. Now, of course, I'm talking not putting it straight on 1-ton axles. If you were gonna put it straight on 1-ton axles and 40s, you know, big set of gears, you'd probably be all right. You'd probably be able to do that. But vast majority of us cannot afford to buy a brand new rig that's already $60,000 and immediately put it on 1 ton. So I see a lot of people putting it on the stock axles. Now I know I'm probably gonna get a bunch of flack in the comments because I too ran 40s and I took it out to off-road parks, beat the crap out of it, and did not break them. But I did have, you know, things that I had to fix. I had wheel seal leakage. Now that probably wouldn't have happened if I wasn't putting all that stress on them. And there's just some other issues, like the fact that you're on very expensive tires. You know, these 40s are not cheap anymore. When I first bought that set of 40s, I think they were like $380 a piece. Have you looked at 40s prices lately? Yeah, Mickey Thompson Baja Bosses, which is the 40s that I was running, are stupid expensive now. I mean, you're spending $5 grand for a set of rims and tires to get 40s on your rig. So when you're driving them as much as I do, being on the road all the time, or if you have a very long commute, you're gonna wear through very, very expensive tires, and it gets really expensive really fast. Now let's flip the switch. For those of you that have a separate daily, maybe you have a truck that is your daily for work. Well, that's a different story. If you have that, sure, build your rig big because it's not your daily. It's not on the road all the time. You're not running through really expensive tires all the time, and that is a completely different ball game. You know, obviously you guys know I have the 1979 Cherokee Chief that I'm building, and that I am putting on 1 tons. It's getting 40s, it's getting coilovers, it's getting 3-inch triple bypass shocks in the rear. It's gonna be a beast, but that's not a daily, you know, and it's getting a 600 horse LS. That's not a daily vehicle, so of course I'm gonna build the crap out of that thing. You know, now that I've had the big dailies, and if you guys have not seen the video of why I got rid of the 2021 diesel Jeep Gladiator, go check that out. I'll link that up above. You know, there's a lot of reasons I got rid of it. I do miss it. That thing was a blast, but it is what it is. Sometimes life happens, and sometimes you don't have a choice. You got to do stuff for your family. Obviously, you guys know I'm back in Wrangler, which I wanted to get back into anyways, because the Jeep Gladiator I did not end up enjoying as much as I enjoyed the Wranglers. So maybe I should make a video, Wrangler versus Jeep Gladiator, which one should you buy? Considering that I've had both and multiples of both, I can have some insight on the reasons on why I'd rather have the Wrangler over that. Another reason why you might not want to consider building a really big daily driver is because of all the other stuff that comes along with it. Now, this particular rig currently is kind of in the stage 1 form, where I got some Nitto Trail grapplers, which I'm actually trading for Nitto Ridge grapplers because these ones are pretty loud. And that's another thing on a daily. When you've got 40-inch tires, unless you go with like some 40 by 13.5 BF Goodwrench KO2s, they're loud. And when they start wearing my Mickey Thompson Baja Bosses, even with rotating them, you know, about half tread down, they got extremely loud. Now that, you know, I used to, when I was a kid, love that hum of mud tires, but as I've gotten older, you know, being in this thing, talking on the phone to my clients, it just gets annoying. So that is another thing to think about. 40s are going to be loud. So I am choosing to go to Ridge grapplers because those are badass tires, and they're going to give me the quiet on-road characteristics. And then when I get out into the mud, they're still going to work properly. They're not going to go through as deep of mud, but they're going, Michigan, everybody does the Jeep Wave and Wrangler. I love it. Moving on. Another thing to think about here. When you upgrade 37s, 38s, 40s. Now, when I'm saying this, I guarantee my daily is going to end up on 37s at some point. It's just in this current stage, I'm staying on 35s because you can get away with it when it's stock. You don't need to change gears. You don't have to do anything on these Rubicons. Literally, I took nothing. I mean, it's completely stock. Of course, I put my Gladiator shocks on this thing so I could get some Fox shocks on here instead of those cheap Rubicon shocks. I did nothing, and I'm rolling on some really nice Black Rhino -18 wheels, and I've got some 35 by 12.5 inch Nittos on here, and it gives it a really nice stance. It gives it a nice wide stance. I still am not rolling on stock pizza slicers, as I like to call them, and it gives it a really nice stance without doing anything but throwing a set of wheels and tires on. What other vehicle can we completely change the feel and look of it by just adding rims and tires? I mean, even this Rubicon could fit 37s without a lift. You're not gonna really get out and flex it, but they can fit bigger tires. Okay, let's talk about some other things to think about if you're gonna build your Jeep big on your daily vehicle. You've got to add a bunch of other stuff to your vehicle in order to make that work. Maybe you'll get away with it for a very short period of time, but you're going to have to do a gear swap. You're not going to be able to run a stock Jeep on 410 gears or like the diesel on 373s. You can get away with it for a very short period of time, but you're not going to be happy with the acceleration. You're not going to be happy with the fuel mileage. It's going to be terrible. Obviously, we don't buy these things for fuel mileage, but we still need to get as good as we can get. So you're going to have to swap gears, okay? $1,800 to $2,200 to swap gears. You can't go on stock suspension when you're going 40s. You have to get more suspension. Obviously, my Gladiators had 2.5-inch Evo lift on my gas one with the inner fenders out, and I was able to run 40s and fully stuff them, of course, with the proper bump stops, and I could stuff them pretty far. So you don't need a crazy amount of lift to fit 40s on these newer ones. Now, if you're running the Sport or the Saharas that have the low fenders, you're gonna have to go higher lift on those in order to fit 40s or 38s or 39s. But these Rubicons can fit quite a bit. It's pretty impressive. So now you've got a lift, okay? You could go cheap, you can go really cheap, but everybody knows when you go a really cheap lift, it's super obvious. The ride is terrible, it's harsh. So you're gonna want a quality lift. You're talking 4, 5, 6 grand sometimes to get a quality lift, especially with inflation as high as it is in 2022. So now you've got gears, you've got a lift. Oh, okay, well you're gonna need a tuner because you're gonna need to tell the Jeep what gears you have. You're gonna need to tell the Jeep what tire size you have. So now you need a taser or some type of tuner in order to speak to the computer. So now that's adding another 300 bucks. You see how the costs, they just keep adding on and tacking up. So again, if money is no object to you, you don't care about all this stuff, obviously go and build a big Jeep and use it as your daily. You know, folks that have families and young kids, and you know, you're trying to, you know, you're younger, you're trying to build successful businesses, you're using this thing as a daily, you're using it for your work vehicle, you're putting a lot of miles on it. Those are just some things to think about. I want to know your comments, your thoughts. Throw it down in the comment section. You know, I apologize again for being gone so long. I promise I'm getting back to this because I do love making content for you. I appreciate all the support. We've been growing, even with me not putting videos out. So that tells me that, you know, the footage and the videos and the content that I have put out have been useful for you. And I really, really appreciate your support. So make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit that like button because it does help the channel out. And let me know what other videos that you are looking for or wanting, and I will make them right away. So make sure you stay tuned because I am going to make that Jeep Gladiator versus Wrangler video because I think that's going to be a good one. All right, I appreciate you. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.